Hi, I hope you're well today. Today's video, I want to talk to you about how holiday weekends are so much better sober than they are when you're drinking. We've just had a bank holiday weekend here in the UK, and I'm going to tell you about how I spent my weekend sober, and I'm going to also tell you how it would have gone had I been drinking, how they often used to go in my drinking days, and the massive difference there is between the two, and why weekends, holidays, days off are better sober. So this weekend just gone, bank holiday weekend in the UK, the first day of the weekend, the Saturday, I spent all afternoon and evening from 2 o'clock in the afternoon right the way through to about 10 o'clock at night, went to a local little village festival where they had amazingly and randomly put on an event, which was they had a stage, they had marquees, they had food stalls, they had drinks, they had bars, they had a dance floor, and they had a DJ who was playing all of exactly the kind of music that me and my boyfriend love to dance to. And so he was playing like 1940s, 1950s stuff, lots of jivers, and we just danced all afternoon. So we spent an afternoon and an evening in a village that's just about 5 miles away up the road. We drove up there in our old 1952 Chevy pickup truck, which is a lovely, lovely, lovely old truck, and it's really cool. It's really battered looking, but it goes like hell. It's a really fast truck. And we went along in our truck, we looked the part because we were dressed all 1940s, and we were there in our old truck, and it was a fantastic day. The sun shone on us all afternoon, we danced our little hearts out, we got really hot and sweaty, we got loads of compliments on our dancing. I was drinking mocktails because there was a cocktail bar there at the event, and they were serving these gorgeous mocktails. Can't remember the name of the one that I had. But yeah, we had a fantastic afternoon. The weather couldn't have been better. And of course, we drove home at the end of the Saturday evening. My head fully clear, focused, happy, chattering away about the events, how it had all gone, just chattering away. Got home, scrubbed teeth, got showered, went to bed, all nice and fresh, had a fantastic night's sleep. Sunday, bank holiday weekend, was... What the hell did we do on Sunday? Oh, I know. We spent the morning working. So I did, must have been about a good 5 or 6 hours work on Sunday morning. Won't bore you with the detail of that, but we had to get our heads down and get really focused. So did a lot of work on Sunday morning. Sunday afternoon, we went into Bury St Edmunds town centre in the UK, where there was a food festival. We had a little wander around the town, around the old Abbey Gardens, went to the food festival, bought some food, soaked up the atmosphere, soaked up the vibe. It was a really energetic vibe. It was a fantastic atmosphere there. And Bury St Edmunds is a lovely little town to walk around. The Abbey Gardens are beautiful, stunning with all of their kind of summer floral displays, absolutely stunning. So we just sat and absorbed the atmosphere, sat and ate some food, wandered around, lots of music, and just a really fantastic weekend, just a really fantastic day. Bank holiday Monday, my boyfriend went to play in a gig. He plays in a band, so he went to do a gig, and I drove to the Norfolk coast to see my sister. And we spent some time driving up and down the Norfolk coast, and we went to a beach. We walked the dog on the beach. I got my cossie on, swam in the sea. And again, it's the weather that makes it in the UK, because the weather's often really crap. But because it was so sunny and it was so warm, it was just a fantastic weekend. So there was me swimming around in the sea, in the sun, with my sister and her little dog. We had ice creams. We went for pub lunches. We went for lovely coastal drives, lovely walks along the beach. Came home Monday afternoon, have woken up, this morning is a Tuesday, have woken up Tuesday morning, I've done a hardcore workout, and I've been cracking on with my work this morning. And the point I'm making is this: I have had a fun-filled weekend. So I've done something on Saturday, I've done something on Sunday, I've done something on Monday. I've had a fun-packed, adventure-filled weekend, full of activities, full of people, full of things. None of this would have been possible in my drinking days, and I can tell you exactly how it would have gone when I was drinking. My weekend, the start of the weekend, would have probably started on the Thursday, would have started really on the Thursday evening, because I would have been thinking ahead, I would have been planning ahead my drinking opportunities. And because it was a bank holiday weekend, I'd be already on Thursday thinking about the fact that this 4 days of not having any work commitments, not having to be productive over these 4 days, that would be giving me permission, be giving me my big green light to go ahead and indulge in drinking. And that drinking would have started on the Thursday evening. And the reason it would have started on the Thursday evening would have been because I would have been planning that I only had 1 day of work to get through, and that Friday I would have had to have done a day's work. So I would have eased myself into the drinking on the Thursday evening, would have done a day's work on the Friday, knowing that I could go for it and indulge my drinking fully on the Friday evening, because I had a whole weekend. I had 3 full days of no work to worry about. So I would have started drinking on the Thursday evening. I would have felt rubbish on the Friday, would have got through my Friday at work, and I would have started drinking seriously on the Friday. Maybe we'd have gone to the pub, maybe we'd have been drinking at home, but I would have made sure that I got drunk on the Friday evening. So what that would have meant was that Saturday, we might well have gone to this festival, this dance event in our local village on the Saturday, as I did do. We might well have done that, but I would have been hungover. I would have been feeling really jaded. And the focus mentally for me would have been on getting to that event and drinking. And my whole raison d'etre would have been the drink. It would have been focused on when I was going to start drinking, how the event was suddenly going to take off, and how the event was suddenly going to be lovely and enjoyable and fun when I started drinking. Drink o'clock for me would have been about 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. So I would have kind of just tolerated and survived the event. Indeed, if we had have gone in the afternoon, we might not even have gone in the afternoon, because I might have been feeling so crap. So we might not have even gone in the afternoon. And if we had, I'd have been looking forward to 6 o'clock when I could have started drinking. And then in my mind, it would have been that when I started drinking, I'd have started having fun. The reality would have been I'd have had some fun for an hour, max, maybe 2 at the most. Then my dancing would have become uncontrolled, and I'd have started messing up. So my dancing would have become all over the place and rubbish. I would have just got drunker and drunker and drunker, would have got to the point where I wouldn't remember going home, and would have woken up on the Sunday morning with a stinking hangover, probably wouldn't have got much sleep. In fact, I know I wouldn't have got much sleep. I'd have woken up in the early hours of the morning on Sunday, unable to get back to sleep, stewing in my juices of shame and guilt and all of those paranoid thoughts and feelings that would have been washing over me from the night before. What I could remember would have been awful. What I couldn't remember would have been awful. I'd have been fearing the worst. So my start to Sunday would have been awful. I would have cancelled my work plans on Sunday morning. And if I'd have gone to the food festival and the event that was on in Bury in the afternoon on the Sunday, it would have been with a very different head. And again, I'd have been counting down the hours until I could start drinking before I could start enjoying myself at that event. So instead of walking around soaking up the atmosphere, enjoying the vibe, enjoying the music, enjoying the food, I'd have been walking around with a vicious panic attack, high levels of anxiety, literally counting down the minutes till I could start drinking and start to feel okay again. It would have been a very different experience, and half the day would have been wasted. Then on Bank Holiday Monday, because I would have carried on drinking on the Sunday evening, I would have been on a serious come down on the Monday, and I would have known it would have felt like a pressure or a burden that I had to drive to Norfolk. I would have had to have driven to Norfolk because I had a deadline. I had to be there for 10 o'clock in the morning. That would have been awful for me over bank holiday weekend, because I would have had to have restricted my drinking on the Sunday evening in order to be able to cope with getting up first thing in the morning and driving for an hour and a half to get to Norfolk, to then spend a day with my sister chatting and having fun. But for me, that wouldn't have been it wouldn't have been having fun. It wouldn't have been enjoyable, because I wouldn't have been able to indulge in getting drunk. I would have had to have kind of made it look like on the surface I was fine and everything was okay, when the reality was that there would have been turmoil in my mind, because I'd have been full of anxiety, full of panic, full of fear. I'd have been counting down the hours again. Every single day of my weekend would have involved counting down the hours till I could start drinking and start feeling okay. And that would have been the case on the Monday. My whole day trip with my sister would have involved counting down the hours till I could start drinking and feeling anxious and feeling panicked and full of anxiety. So it would have been a very different experience, and I might have enjoyed it, but it would have been through a kind of fog of anxiety and a fog of hangover and a fog of just not really being able to relax or enjoy myself until I could start drinking, which, because I had to drive home at the end of the day, couldn't have happened until I'd actually driven home. So that whole day on Monday, that whole wonderful, liberating day of being by the beach, being in the sun, being in the sea and the sand and walking the dog, that whole liberating and enjoyable day would have been one of fear, terror, panic, fog, and counting down the hours till I could actually get in the car and I could actually drive home and I could actually crack open the wine once I got home. So it would have been a very different experience. And the weekend, I just want to really get home to you this point that when you're not drinking, when you've gone sober for long enough that it's become automatic and that you're confident about doing it, your weekends, your holidays, your bank holidays are a really different ball game. They're liberating, they're free. You no longer have this anxiety hovering over you. You no longer have that hungover fog kind of providing that veil between you and the rest of the world. You're fully engaged and interacting with what's going on around you. So it's a very different experience. When it comes to bank holiday weekends drinking versus bank holiday weekends sober, there's no contest. Bank holiday sober are the best. If you want more inspiration, tips and motivation on living your life happily and healthily sober, you can subscribe to my channel. I'll look forward to catching up with you very soon, but in the meantime, let's go get sober together.